Hello people, this is Daniel Bowman, better known as the Abbey Rabbi, and by other names that you won't get into. Anyway, yeah, a couple things on the news caught my interest. So, thought I'd make a commentary on it. One, the end of this month, this is October, planet will apparently reach the new number of 7 billion people alive and well on this planet. 7 billion of us. We don't get many of the commands of God down right, but this one, be fruitful, multiply, we seem to have down pat. That being said, secondary thing is 1 in 7 of us in all nations, whether we're the most prosperous like the United States or the least prosperous like Bangladesh or some of these poorer places, Sudan, areas which are in very dire stress needs, will go hungry tonight. 1 in 7 of over 7 billion of us live in the fear of starvation. Then you add to the fact that also on the news, over 1 billion metric tons of food is wasted. What that tells me, when there's 1 billion metric tons of food wasted, is that there's enough food for every man, woman, and child. There's no reason for people to go hungry. And yet, we have starving nations and starving people. We had a big protest yesterday, and it's still going on in our lovely park, of people rising up against corporate greed and the big banks and stuff like this, and they want regulations and stuff put on the banks and more investigations and more accountability, which, since it's our money and they think it's their money once they put it in there, I agree with, but that being said, here's another prime example of things not being just or right in this planet. When 1 in 7 of us go hungry. More particularly, I was amused to hear during that big flood in Pakistan, urban areas in Pakistan, while the rest of the world was in shock because of this big flood and the number of people that were displaced from their homes and stuff, lost their jobs, lost their income, lost a lot of stuff. Urban areas of Pakistan weren't even aware of what had happened. Thirdly, the issue was the fact that a city that was relatively close to the area that was stricken had food, so long as people had money, and when the demand came from outside the city for extra food, the prices jumped. You want to talk about corporate greed. And this is a Muslim world with Muslim people who claim to follow God's law, when instead of reaching out to their brothers and sisters with compassion, they increase their prices and tax the people for their inability to pay, and enslave their own people. So what do these Muslims do? They hate the infidel. They turn to the Christian, Jewish nations who respond with the love of God and return to wanting to kill us or take us right off of this planet. Well, that was an off-covered comment. I should bring a few comments, but anyway, that being said, I think there's more that we can do as a nation, as people, and we need to address this gap. When 1 in 7 people are going hungry, and 1 billion metric tons of food is going to waste, when we would take food out of restaurants that's not being sold and throw it in the dumpster rather than haul it out to the garbage dump, when we consider the fact one of the big screaming things is these landfills are getting filled to the sky and there's no place to put stuff, maybe instead of recycling tin cans, which can be crushed to a smaller size, we should look at recycling food and how it is disposed of at the end of a day. I think there's definitely some social change that should take place. I doubt very highly nations will move quickly. I don't think that the public are well aware enough of this issue. So if you see this video and you agree with it, Put it on your Facebook or other social sites and get the word out that we need to do something, and it's time for a change. Not necessarily at the top bankers. You want to bring the bankers to the knees. Stop putting your money in the bank. Put it in things you know are of value, and in things you know will give you the return. Banks only seek to line their own pockets. If you haven't looked, you put $100 in and they pay you pennies and interest on the dollars, while they make billions in profit. And they're not interested in helping you out, and when you put it in there, it becomes their money, not yours. You can't take it out, you can't do anything with it. So what's the point? You bring those bankers to the knees, stop putting your money in the bank. Simple solution. It's a little bit more complicated with wasted food. It's just a thought, but something has to be done, and done quickly. Until next time, this is Daniel Bome saying Shalom, Mazel Tov. And done.